After the zombie outbreak, I awakened a superpower. I can command one zombie at a time to serve me. It is incredibly useful. I summoned the Zombie King overnight and tied him to the door to guard my house. On the third day of the virus outbreak, I ate the last cup of instant noodles in my house. It tasted terrible. If I could do it all over again, I would definitely save that vine pepper beef flavor for the very last. Ideally with a grilled sausage. Too late now though. I lay peacefully on my bed, hands folded together on my lower abdomen. I figured this posture would look better when I die. Fortunately, before this, my neighborhood had been on flu lockdown. So after the outbreak, there were no zombies in the hallway. I wouldn't be eaten for the time being. I thought to myself, the apocalypse isn't that scary. Everyone dies eventually. Dying early or late is all the same. Until I saw a zombie climbing outside my window. I'm breaking down, sisters. This is the 30th floor. That zombie was in a bizarre posture, holding onto the curtains with one hand, groaning loudly from his mouth. I directly jumped out of bed. Before I could even react, I saw him struggling to raise his other hand. A plastic bag was hanging on that hand. Inside was a cup of vine pepper beef noodles and a grilled sausage. I gulped hard and slowly approached the window, just as I was wondering how to get rid of him and take the noodles. He placed the bag on the windowsill, turned around and jumped down, holding my noodles. I watched his body smash into plum jam down below. A thought flashed through my mind. Do my wishes come true just by speaking them? So I tentatively said out loud, I want a large bottle of water. My floor was too high, and there were too many zombies down below, so I couldn't see their movements clearly. But 10 minutes later, a zombie walked out from the supermarket opposite, carrying a 5-liter bottle of water. When he reached the bottom of my building, he stopped. Climbing a wall while carrying water was indeed hard for him. But that didn't seem to be my problem. I drew the curtains, eating my noodles while waiting for him to deliver the water to me. 4 hours later, a familiar roaring sound came from the window. He was obviously exhausted. I walked over to the window in a few steps, pulled open the curtains, and took the water from his head. Thanks, bro. Goodbye. I don't know if it was an illusion, but I felt like I saw a look of pure relief in his gray eyes. Then he let go and fell. I truly am the chosen one. After a few days of experiments, I came to a conclusion. As long as I make a wish, God will randomly select an unlucky zombie to fulfill my dream. The catch is, I can only command one zombie at a time. I was instantly revived and began cleaning my house. I planned to convert the guest room and study into storage rooms. I summoned a zombie up here, making him throw away all the space-consuming junk. Tables, chairs, lamps, I didn't need any of them. I worked for a whole day, just to empty out the study. This high-altitude littering even crushed a few zombies downstairs. The noise was too loud, and it eventually caught someone's attention. The landlord from upstairs peeked down, catching me just as I was about to drop a chair. Xiao Li, don't be impulsive. Let's wait a bit longer, rescue will come. I said, okay, and let go, dropping the chair anyway. At the very end, only a large bed was left in the guest room. Since it couldn't be moved, I shelved it for now. Today's mission, hoarding supplies. I made too much noise during the day, so I intentionally rested for today's. On the third night, I called zombies to deliver my goods. But these zombies were too weak. Even light items took at least an hour per trip, let alone those heavy 5-liter water bottles. Plus, every zombie was single-use only. It was getting a bit too troublesome. As time went on, The ground below would be covered in zombie bones, which would inevitably arouse suspicion. If only I had a stronger, reusable zombie. After much thought, I turned to the window and made a tentative wish. I asked for the strongest zombie to bring me 50 pounds of rice. I leaned against the window and looked down. It was pitch black, straining my eyes. Half an hour passed. Nothing. An hour passed. Still nothing. I figured this service probably didn't accept custom orders. Just as I was about to make a new wish, a hand reached up over the windowsill. The next second, a familiar man appeared before me. I sneered, well, long time no see. Ex-boyfriend, you've changed quite a bit in a few days. It's quite a clutch story. Mao Bufin and I were college classmates. We dated for 3 years, and he always told me he was an orphan. Then, half a month ago, an old woman threw a 1 million yuan check at me, saying she was his mother, and told me to break up with him. This bastard, Mao Bufin, pretending to be poor all these years, fearing I was just after his money. Break up, absolutely. But I didn't take the money. Not because I'm noble or hopelessly romantic, but because I know the law. I told his mother, we'll talk when my lawyer arrives. She asked me when the lawyer would come, and I said, tomorrow. Who knew that the very next day, the zombie apocalypse would happen? I looked at the culprit standing in front of me and smirked. Speak. What are you here for? Want me to take you in? Beg me. Mao Bufin didn't say a word. He just looked at me, even though our past wasn't great. Seeing that he climbed past the zombie horde below, just to stand in front of me, I was willing to take him in. He would definitely be of great use later. At worst, the other zombies outside would just have to deliver one more meal. I confidently waited for him to open his mouth and beg me. But he remained silent and merely handed the items in his hands to me. I took a look. 50 lbs of rice. Premium watching rice at that. Then, he left. I watched as he swiftly jumped back down and landed safely. I was stunned on the spot. Did my ex-boyfriend become the zombie king behind my back? I couldn't believe it, hugging the rice. I muttered to the dark sky, give me another 50 pounds of rice. Delivered by the zombie king. And Mao Bufin came back again, bringing another 50 pounds of rice. Just as he was about to jump off the building again, I grabbed him. Why are you running? Don't you remember me? He stared straight at me. A hint of innocence shone through his red eyes. Who are you? He really didn't remember. Our eyes met, and an evil idea suddenly popped into my head. Then do you know why whatever I tell you to do, you just do it? Why? I looked out into the dark night, let out an extremely dramatic sigh, and forced myself to think of every sad memory I had, just to keep from laughing. Then I told him with a straight face, because you are my ultimate simp. Did you know that? The kind who loves me to death. You even swore you would listen to me for the rest of your life. So, even after turning into a zombie, you still can't refuse any of my demands. A flicker of confusion crossed his eyes. His slow processing brain turned for a long time before he finally nodded. With Mao Bufin around, the speed of hoarding supplies became much faster. Whether the items were light or heavy, a round trip only took him 20 minutes. He was so fast he looked like a blurry black shadow. On the first night, starting from midnight, he moved supplies for 4 hours, making 12 trips, and brought back 24 large bottles of water. The second and third nights were also 24 bottles of water each night. The neighborhood's power had already been cut, and I guess the water supply would stop in a day or two. From the fourth night on, he started bringing food. 300 pounds of rice, 300 pounds of flour, and various types of beans. We stored almost 100 pounds of those too. Self-heating pots, instant noodles, and other quick meals were moved in box by box. Then came the meat. I didn't have a refrigerator, so fresh meat couldn't be kept. He could only bring more air-dried beef jerky, vacuum-sealed roast duck and chicken that could be kept at room temp, canned meats, and long-lasting side dishes. You can never have too many salted duck eggs or pickled mustard greens. While the fruits and vegetables in the supermarket hadn't rotted yet, he brought some of those back too. These supplies almost completely filled the guest room and study. After ensuring basic survival needs, I set my sights on the snack section. Canned fruits. 20 cans each of strawberry, lychee, tangerine, and yellow peach. Potato chips, spicy chicken gluten strips, instant milk tea. Oh right, and power banks. Finally, looking at my empty balcony, I ordered Mao Bufan to bring back 20 flower pots. Filled them with soil and planted tomatoes, potatoes, scallions, and garlic. Half a month later, my doomsday survival base was finally complete. Lastly, to prevent anyone from raiding my home, I needed a bodyguard. Mao Bufan. What if someone tries to steal the fruits of your labor? He stared at the items he had painstakingly moved up here, suddenly bared his teeth, and a murderous look appeared on his face. Great, I kept Mao Bufan around and settled him in the living room. That night, I had the best sleep I've had all month. When I woke up the next day, Mao Bufan was in the kitchen making breakfast for me, wearing the apron we bought together back when we were dating. I walked up behind him. How much longer? I'm hungry. His zombie brain spun and spun. And he said, wash your hands first. At that moment, I almost forgot we were in the apocalypse. It felt just like an ordinary morning from a month ago. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Just as I was eating my noodles, heavy knocking sounds suddenly came from the front door. Is anyone home? I froze and didn't make a sound. I crept quietly to the door. And through the peephole, I saw two men standing outside. One of them was my landlord, Xiao Li. We're taking a head count of the people left in the building. Open the door and let us in. Yeah, right, there's no way I'm opening that door. Not only do I have 2 rooms full of supplies, but I also have a huge zombie right beside me. I absolutely couldn't let them see. But if I pretended to be dead, I suspected the landlord might use his key to let himself in. I hesitated for 2 seconds, then spoke up. Uncle Zhu, tell me what you need to tally. I won't open the door. It's nothing much, just asking how much food everyone has left. During this crucial period, our building needs to help each other out. The landlord had always been a good guy, but hearing him say this during the apocalypse still surprised me. So, are supplies going to be distributed? You know, when the neighborhood was sealed off, I didn't buy anything. I only survived thanks to your relief food. Back during the flu outbreak, the authorities told us not to panic. I believed them. Then the very next day, the neighborhood was on lockdown. I almost starved to death. The landlord clearly remembered that too. He said, we're still doing the tally. If someone has a lot of extra food, we'll figure out how to distribute it. We will definitely make arrangements. I said, okay, just as they were leaving. The man with him chimed in. You're quite a tough girl. Having no supplies, yet you've held on for a month. I eat very little. I still have 2 packs left from the noodles Uncle Zhu gave me last time. If you guys hadn't come today, I really might not have made it. Perhaps because of the landlord's presence. The man believed me. The 2 of them continued downstairs. I breathed a sigh of relief and went back to finish my noodles. Unsurprisingly, the supply tally never amounted to anything. But what I never expected was that the landlord would actually send me supplies. Since the apocalypse, my routine was very strict. Wake up naturally, eat breakfast, lie down, browse my phone, and wait for lunch. After lunch, take a nap. Wake up, take a stroll around the house. Inspect my inventory, and then wait for dinner. But today, when I patrolled out to the balcony, I found a basket lowered outside my window. Mao Bufan, go see what that is. He reached out, opened the window, and pulled the basket inside. I leaned in to take a look. In the basket was a pack of crackers, a carton of children's milk, and a note. Xiao Li, make do with this food for now. We will figure something out. We will definitely survive this. I only kept the crackers. After thinking about it, I put 2 fruit cans into the basket and wrote a note, thanks Uncle Zhu. Give the milk to Yu. I bought these 2 cans by mistake. I'm allergic to yellow peach so I can't eat them. Give them to Yu too. Yu is 4 years old. She's the landlord's daughter. When I first moved in, she would follow behind the landlord and sweetly call me sister. After placing the items, I gave the rope a hard tug. The basket was pulled back up. Mao Bufan had been watching me the whole time. After a good while, he muttered, allergic. Stupid, I pushed him and pointed to the bedroom, go get the nail clippers. Ever since Mao Bufan became a zombie, his nails grew extremely fast. I brought 2 chairs to the balcony. We sat face to face, and I clipped his nails. Good thing it's only your nails that grow, not your teeth. I recalled the fangs on other zombies. You don't have those. Mao Bufan tilted his head, watching my movements. After a long pause, he suddenly spoke, I do. I looked up in surprise, only to see him suddenly grin, revealing 2 fangs. They were twice as long as normal canine teeth. It was kind of cute. I reached out and touched them. Pretty sharp. The next second, he suddenly closed his mouth, and his sharp teeth lightly grazed my fingertip. A numb, tingling sensation washed over me. I flinched by reflex and quickly pulled my hand back. You dare bite me? I didn't, seeing his helpless and flustered look. My heart bloomed with joy. If things could stay like this forever, it wouldn't be so bad. That evening, just as Mao Bufan was about to cook, he turned on the faucet, and only blood-red water flowed out. Luckily, we had hoarded enough water earlier. We still managed to have dinner as usual. After dinner, I took stock of our inventory. We had 50 large bottles of water left. Not a lot, but enough. However, the supermarket opposite would be completely emptied sooner or later. From now on, Mao Bufan would have to run to places further away to stock up. I was just wondering whether I should have him go grab a few more bottles tonight. When the knocking sound returned, this time there were more people. They were holding all kinds of knives and weapons, seeming prepared to do something. Outside the door, the landlord spoke up. Xiao Li, are you okay? We discussed it and are preparing to go out and find food. Do you want to come? Uncle Zhu, I won't go and drag you guys down. Alright, then when we bring stuff back, we'll share some with you. Just as I was about to say no need, I heard that same man from last time mockingly say, brother-in-law. You are way too nice. We are risking our lives out there. You're being so generous. Is the girl living inside your sugar baby or something? I remembered who he was now. This guy is the landlord's brother-in-law, Xiao Liang. After losing his job, he claimed he came to help look after the kid. Since Uncle Zhu had a lot of apartments, he just let him stay here ever since. The landlord frowned and scolded him. What nonsense are you saying? It's not easy for a young girl living alone. We should help if we can. Saying that, he pushed Xiao Liang towards the stairs. Watching them leave, I sighed. It seems my water hoarding plan has to be postponed. I asked Mao Bufan. Will they return safely? He said, yes, because the zombies nearby aren't very strong. That makes sense. If they had any brains, they wouldn't have been jumping out of a 30th floor window one by one. but I still felt uneasy. So I sat in the living room, rested my head on Mao Bufen's lap, keeping an ear out for any noise, while playing on my phone. Since the internet was down, I could only play Candy Crush. I was less than 100 levels away from completing the game, so I cherished every single level. Mao Bufen, I want to eat watermelon. Do you know how to grow watermelon? I put my phone down and looked up at him. He shook his head, looking a bit clueless. I smirked and reached towards his lower abdomen. If you can't, then let me see your abs. I don't know why, but after becoming a zombie, he guarded his virtue extremely strictly. Sure enough, the moment I said that, he pressed my hand down. No, he was being a little too cute. Just as I was about to tease him more, I heard the people who went out coming back. It sounded like they returned fully loaded. Zhao Liang's voice was loud and clear through the door. Zombies are just a bunch of cowards. If I had known, I wouldn't have lived so poorly these past few days. But realizing it now isn't too late. With all this food, we'll be living comfortably for a while. The voices drew closer and stopped right in front of my door. Zhao Li, do you want to come out and take a look? Grab whatever you're missing. You're a woman. In times like this, having a full belly is more important than anything. It's time to put yourself out there, right? Hilarious, I glanced through the peephole at his height. If someone like you stands next to me, people would think you were my manager. He was furious, cursing outside the door. I didn't plan on entertaining him. For people like this, physical violence is the fastest solution. But now wasn't the time. I turned around to grab my earphones. Just as I was about to put them on, I saw Mao Bufen walking towards the door. He was about to open it. I was so shocked I quickly stopped him. Baby, do you know that you're a zombie? Mao Bufen looked at me in confusion, the red in his pupils growing a bit deeper. I grabbed his hand and dragged him back to the bedroom. Before I dared to speak, you are not allowed to go out. Mao Bufen pointed his finger out the door, a look of stubbornness on his face. He scolded you, even so, you can't go out. What if they realize there is something wrong with you? Kill, wow. Before, I never realized he was so fierce. I forcefully pushed him onto the bed. Stuff the earphones into my ears. Stay here and behave. Don't move, Mao Bufen said on the bed sullenly. He was acting a bit stubborn, which made me laugh. Logically, he couldn't refuse any of my commands. So I felt completely safe going to sleep. But can someone tell me, why did I wake up in his arms? It was high summer, with no fan or AC. Yet I woke up freezing. For a split second, I thought the zombie virus had messed up the seasons and plunged us straight into winter. But as soon as I opened my eyes, I met Mao Bufen's innocent, boyish face. I quietly retracted the arm I had draped over his waist. Mao Bufen, who allowed you on the bed? You said, it was hot, I was sleep-talking. You are a grown man. You need to have some judgment of your own, understand? He said, okay, satisfied, I rolled over. I wanted to catch some more sleep while his chill was still there. Go make breakfast first. I want to eat hot pot. I groggily closed my eyes and realized he wasn't moving. This is not sleep-talking. He obediently got out of bed to make breakfast. Just as Mao Bufen poured the hot pot base into the boiling water, the roar of car engines came from outside the window. Biting on my chopsticks, I peeked out. Several off-road vehicles were driving over the zombie bones below. The words Human Rescue Team on the vehicles were glaringly bright in the sunlight. Pure ecstasy instantly overwhelmed my brain. I grabbed Mao Bufen and pulled him to the window, my voice trembling with excitement. Look, the rescue team. We can finally leave. But Mao Bufen's body instantly stiffened. His reddened pupils stared intensely out the window, unmoving. Before I could react, he suddenly shook off my hand and headed for the door. I'll go check the situation first. I nodded and sat back at the dining table, waiting for him to return so we could eat hot pot. But this wait lasted for 3 whole hours. The moment the door was pushed open, the room's hot pot aroma completely vanished. It was replaced by a heavy stench of blood. He was covered in wounds, and his left arm was mangled. Dark blood was dripping down his fingertips. I jumped up in shock, grabbed the iodine and bandages, and rushed to him. He flinched back, his voice terribly hoarse. These aren't zombie bites. I was stunned, and only then got a clear look at his wounds. They weren't bite marks. They looked like slashes from a sharp weapon, and the edges even had burn marks. What happened? Did you get into a conflict with the rescue team? Those people are capturing zombies. Still capturing? Sure enough, my heart skipped a beat. I walked quickly to the door and looked out through the peephole. The hallway was completely quiet. They probably hadn't made it up here yet. But that faint, unmistakable smell of blood drifted in through the crack of the door. While I was staring blankly at the peephole, a familiar basket was suddenly lowered and swayed outside the balcony. It was from the landlord's family. I went over to take a look. Inside the basket were 2 cartons of milk and 3 sausages. Underneath was a note, Xiao Li. We just saw the rescue team's vehicles. You don't like to go out, so we're leaving these things for you. We're preparing to join the rescue team. Looking at the items in the basket, my heart felt both warm and heavy. I didn't expect the landlord to still be thinking of me at a time like this. But he had no idea what that rescue team was truly like. I looked back at Mao Bufan, who was sitting quietly on the sofa. He was looking down at his own wounds. The dark blood had mostly stopped flowing. Uncle Zhu and the others might be in trouble. Did you see where they were taking people earlier? I stuffed the note into my pocket and walked over to Mao Bufan. He looked up and pointed towards the east side of the neighborhood. An abandoned factory. There are lots of iron cages there, with people locked inside. I gritted my teeth. Just as I was about to say something else, messy footsteps echoed from the hallway, followed by the landlord's shouting. Everyone, pack some basic things. The rescue team said they'll take us to a temporary safe zone first. I quickly ran to the door and looked through the peephole. I saw the landlord leading several neighbors heading downstairs. Zhao Liang, the guy who mocked me, followed behind them, still muttering, we should have done this ages ago. If we stayed in this dump any longer, we would have starved eventually. What do? Do we stop them? Uncle Zhu and his family will be tricked into becoming test subjects. I paced back and forth anxiously. Mao Bufan stood up. Even though his left arm was injured, his posture was still tall and straight. He turned and headed for the door. I followed closely behind him. We tailed the crowd down to the 10th floor. There, I saw the landlord's group and the rescue team standing at the stairwell. The leader of the group held a stun gun in his hand, impatiently rushing them. Hurry up, stop wasting time. Looking at the kind-hearted Uncle Zhu and his family, I couldn't control my emotions anymore. I rushed down the stairs. Uncle Zhu, don't go with them. Xiao Li, are you coming with us? The rescue team says there's food and water at the safe zone. They're taking you away to do experiments on you. My boyfriend just went out to find supplies, and they hurt him. Stop spreading panic here. They have good intentions and came to save us. You stupid woman, what do you know? I'm telling the truth. My boyfriend. He saw with his own eyes that the safe zone locks living people in iron cages. The leader's expression changed. And he shouted fiercely, "Nonsense! If you interfere with our mission any further, I won't show you any mercy." Saying that, he raised his stun gun and aimed it at me. In the nick of time, Mao Bufan flashed past. Before the man could even pull the trigger, Mao Bufan grabbed his wrist and gave it a slight twist. With a crack, the man's wrist snapped. He let out a scream, and the stun gun fell to the floor. Seeing this, the other rescue team members quickly swarmed forward. But they were no match for Mao Bufan. In a few moves, they were beaten to the ground. Zhao Liang's legs went soft from fear. He slumped to the ground. What exactly is your boyfriend?" I ignored him and walked over to Uncle Zhu. "Uncle Zhu, trust me. Go home quickly, lock the door, and don't come out again. These guys are just the lackeys. There might be a main force behind them." Hearing this, the landlord quickly ran back up. Zhao Liang crawled and stumbled as he followed. Mao Bufan and I returned home. Just as we closed the door, we heard car engines starting down below. I guess the other members of the rescue team noticed the commotion and drove off. Hungry, Mao Bufan walked over to the dining table. Looking at the hot pot that had completely cooled down, he pouted aggrievedly. His look made me laugh. I walked over and rubbed his head. "I'll cook a new pot for you. This time, I'll add lots of your favorite meatballs while cooking the hot pot." I suddenly remembered the basket from earlier. I dug through my supplies and took out 2 cans of yellow peaches and a pack of compressed biscuits. I went to the balcony, put the items in the basket, and tugged on the rope. Soon, someone pulled the basket back up. I could hear the landlord's wife softly sobbing. After finishing the hot pot, I sat on the sofa, thinking things over. After this incident, we definitely couldn't stay in this building anymore, since those fake rescue team guys know there are survivors in this neighborhood. They will definitely come back. Mao Bufan's identity was exposed, and Zhao Liang is clearly untrustworthy. He might just sell us out in a heartbeat. Let's move. I turned and spoke to Mao Bufan, who was clearing the dishes. He stopped what he was doing and nodded in confusion. "Let's find a standalone house. Ideally a villa in the suburbs. Fewer people, fewer zombies. And we can hoard more supplies. I'll look for one right now." Immediately after, Mao Bufan leapt down from the balcony. His movements were as fast as a cat's. About 2 hours later, he returned. He was a bit dusty, but he hadn't gotten hurt again. He walked up to me and crouched down. "Found one. Let's go. It's very big, very empty, and has a yard." My eyes lit up. I put down my phone and started gathering our supplies in the middle of the living room. Food, water, and medicine were absolute must-haves. Then there were my snacks and skincare products. Those had to come too. As for the furniture and appliances, they were useless and took up space, so we left them all behind. Mao Bufan's strength is truly insane. He could carry a whole box of rice like it was nothing. Dozens of water bottles stacked together, he could easily carry them off. I followed behind him, responsible for making sure we didn't leave anything behind. Under the cover of night, we made over a dozen round trips and finally moved all the important supplies into the new villa. This villa was seriously massive. 2 stories with an enormous yard. The living room was spacious enough to run horses in. I walked out into the yard, looking at the empty lawn, and thought to myself, later on, we can grow some vegetables here and maybe build a sunroom. Tired, Mao Bufan walked up to me and leaned his weight on me. There was a hint of him acting spoiled in his tone. I turned to look at him. His hair was soaked with sweat, sticking to his forehead. His reddened eyes were full of exhaustion. My heart softened. I pulled him into the living room and made him sit on the sofa. Rest for a bit, I'll go get you some food. As soon as I stepped into the kitchen, loud banging sounds came from the front door outside. My already anxious heart jumped to my throat again. I signaled Mao Bufan not to make a sound and quietly tiptoed to the door. I looked through the peephole. It was actually the landlord and Zhao Liang. Li Heixiang, I've been following you guys all night. You took your boy toy to live in such a nice place. You are so unloyal. The landlord quickly pulled Zhao Liang back and said, Zhao Li, we are not here to steal your place. It's just that a bunch of strangers came later and smashed our door down. Yu has a fever, and we truly had no other choice. So we came to beg you to take us in for a few days. I frowned and looked back at Mao Bufan. He was sitting on the sofa, staring coldly at the door. He clearly did not welcome them. It's not that I don't want to take you in, but it's not safe here either. Those fake rescue team people will probably find this place. I don't care, we're staying right here. If you don't open the door, I'll attract all the zombies over. If we die together. Zhao Liang yelled and started violently banging on the door. My heart sank. He really is a complete scoundrel. He didn't even care what I just said. Mao Bufan stood up in silence, walked to the door, and pulled it open. The people outside were startled when they saw Mao Bufan. Don't think just because you're a zombie that I'm afraid of you. Get out. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried an inexplicable, crushing pressure. Zhao Liang's legs went to jelly, and he almost collapsed. Seeing this, the landlord quickly grabbed Zhao Liang and bowed to me. I'm sorry, Zhao Li. We bothered you. Saying that, he dragged Zhao Liang and led his wife and child far away. I watched them leave, sighed softly, and closed the door. Over the next few days, we stayed inside the villa and didn't go out. Mao Bufan would go out on patrol every day and bring back some fresh news for me, like where the zombies had increased in number or where tracks of strangers had appeared. Meanwhile, I dug up a small plot of land in the yard and planted tomatoes and cucumbers. I also organized the rooms on the second floor, one as a bedroom and 3 as supply storage rooms. One afternoon, while I was watering plants in the yard, Mao Bufan suddenly came running back from outside, looking panicked. They're here. Many people, armed with guns. It was those fake rescue team members. Mao Bufan nodded and pulled me inside. Just as we hid in the storage room, we heard the sound of the front door being smashed, followed by a man's loud shout. Listen up, whoever's inside. Hand over all your supplies immediately. If you resist, we'll let the zombies in. I tightly held Mao Bufan's hand. His hand was cold, but strong, giving me an inexplicable sense of security. Mao Bufan leaned close to my ear and whispered, I'll go distract them. Stay here and don't come out. You can't go, there's too many of them. And they have guns, you can't beat them. He looked at me, his red eyes filled with determination. He turned, pushed open the storage room door, and rushed out. I heard gunshots outside, mixed with the roars of zombies. I was burning with anxiety. I gritted my teeth, grabbed a meat cleaver from the supplies, and rushed out as well. The yard was in complete chaos. Mao Bufan was fighting several rescue team members. Around them, several zombies that had been let in were frantically attacking people. Swinging my meat cleaver, I directly chopped down a zombie lunging at me. Seeing this, Mao Bufan panicked and rushed towards me. However, right at this moment, the leader of the rescue team suddenly raised his gun and aimed it at me. In the nick of time, Mao Bufan shoved me aside and shielded me with his own body. A gunshot rang out. I saw his body sway, and dark blood seeped out from his back. No, I screamed, my heart tearing apart. Mao Bufan turned around and gave me a smile. His smile was pale. Don't be afraid. I'm fine. As soon as he said that, his power suddenly exploded. His red eyes became even brighter, and his speed and strength multiplied several times over. In just a few moves, the remaining rescue team members were completely taken care of. When the zombies saw him, they backed away in fear and quickly turned and fled outside. Once the last zombie ran out of my house, Mao Bufan lost control and collapsed. I hurried over to hold him. Tears streaming down my face uncontrollably, I carried him inside and carefully treated his wounds. Over the next few days, I stayed constantly by his side. His recovery ability was very strong. In just a few days, his wounds began to heal. During this time, the landlord and Zhao Liang never showed up again. Once Mao Bufan got better, he became even clingier than before. Wherever I went, he followed. He would even guard the door when I went to the bathroom. I asked him why. He said he was afraid I'd get hurt. Days went by. The shadows of the apocalypse were still heavy, but our little life became increasingly cozy. The vegetables in the yard grew well, and I harvested my first batch of tomatoes. Mao Bufan went out every day to search for all kinds of supplies. When he came back, he'd always bring me little surprises. Sometimes it was a pack of my favorite spicy sticks. Sometimes a bottle of cola. One night, Mao Bufan and I were sitting in the yard looking at the stars. He suddenly pulled a small box from his pocket and handed it to me. Confused, I opened it. Inside were sparkling diamonds and a gold ring. Although it was dusty, it still sparkled brilliantly in the moonlight. Mao Bufan looked at me, his red eyes filled with earnestness and light. You liked this before? I'm sorry. From now on, I will always protect you. My tears instantly fell. Looking at him, I nodded vigorously. Mao Bufan carefully slid the ring onto my finger and then pulled me tightly into his embrace. The evening breeze blew gently, carrying a faint floral scent. The tomato plants in the yard swayed softly in the moonlight. Actually, I've remembered everything. The day I turned into a zombie, I was downstairs at your building. I was getting ready to go up and explain things to you. His voice sounded gentle next to my ear, but my stomach suddenly churned violently. I turned toward the vegetable patch and started throwing up. Mao Bufan rushed over, completely panicked. What's wrong, Zhang Yang? Are you poisoned? I'll go find medicine. I pulled him back, my face looking extremely weird. Mao Bufan, can you make someone pregnant? He stiffly crouched down, his trembling hand gently touching my belly. In his eyes, there was ecstasy, panic, and tears. The very next day, I have no idea where he managed to drag an ultrasound machine from. He looked at me shyly and said, Wifey, I will grow vegetables, fight, and support you and the baby.